Fred Locklear. Hello, Ron Smith, Lakers fan. Hot Rod Jeff, Amy Lee, Curry Princess, Steve-O, Aaron Rose, Nature Lover, Rodney Potts, Lacey Barfoot, Laura Jones. Gonna put on a pair of socks. Feels just a little chillier than I want it to be. Turned off the air conditioner a minute ago. It blows. You know, I really enjoy air conditioning and I like sleeping to it. Just the layout of this room with the AC unit, and it's one of these real big, window units, I guess, but it's big. Kind you see in a hotel sort of thing. And it blows pretty hard, and it blows right onto where I'm at on my bed, and a lot of times, I got a little mini bar in the kitchenette over there. Hello, Ricky T. But I don't eat at the little bar, really. I usually eat in bed. Kind of gross. I was eating some trail mix last night. I don't know, something about getting one of those M&Ms every bite. Oh, love them. Mostly nuts and raisins, though, so I kind of think it's a little bit good for you. A little bit. But either way, occasionally you'll drop a little something on a sheet. Doesn't feel good during the night when you're rolling over and you're, feeling something rub against you. Good morning, Kelly R. How are you? Oh, that's good. That is good. I'm moving slow this morning. I'm up fairly early. Yesterday I slept in and it felt so good. Had a hard time getting out of bed yesterday because I was so ensconced in comfort. Today I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel as comfortable. I felt concerned and worried and fretting and tired and almost concerned I've got a hint of a little bit of a cold. So I'm going to drink some water and hydrate the crud out of myself and wash any of the germs out of my system. My two little ones are really sick. Their mom is really sick. And my little nugget Augie had a high temperature yesterday. And their mom has been sick for like 4 days. And Eve's sick as well, but she's got a really positive vibe and energy about her, and she keeps being herself as best she can, even when she's not feeling well. And Augie, who's my little nugget of love, if anybody's wondering, kind of gets quiet and cuddles, and when he's not feeling well. And when I saw him the other day, I could tell he wasn't feeling well because, he felt warm against his head felt warm against my face. And, usually he'd be kind of excited to see me, but he was just cuddling the whole time, which I loved. I loved the cuddling. But it caused some concern on my part. And it turned out I was right. He's not feeling that well. Hope he's feeling better today. But good morning to you. My name is Ken Tracy, and this is Coffee with Ken. It is Thursday morning. It is August 22nd. It is like 5:36 a.m. Happy Thursday. Feels good to be going a little earlier today. Although, honestly, I got up for not joyous reasons, just because I had a lot going on in my mind. And again, it's better to sleep in and get rest, but still feels kind of good to be early today and know I'm going to do my little show and talk for an hour, and it's going to be still 6:30 a.m. So it's still going to be reasonably early. It's almost fall now. Ricky T, it is almost fall now. I tell you what, I was just opening up my blinds and it's still dark out. I remember a year ago at this time I was working at Super Target and I was doing my show. It's amazing. It's amazing. I was doing my show out in front of a Starbucks right outside of where I worked at Target. And I remember at this time of the year, I was, getting going roughly at 6 o'clock every morning and talking for half an hour or 40 minutes. And it was just getting darker and darker every morning. And obviously that's what happens. But yeah, seasons change. Seasons change. Time goes. It went especially quick for me this year because, I don't know. I feel I missed the whole summer. Or had it. I mean, I don't know if it went quick. But I almost missed the Chicago summer. I did. I was in Yellowstone from May to August, just about. And the opening of the pool and the barbecues and the 4th of July and the Father's Day were all spent while I was in Yellowstone. But I'll tell you, one of my viewers on a different social media program that I've been watching a while hopped on and said it's hard to believe it's been 2 months already. And for me, it felt a lot longer than 2 months. For me, it felt a lot longer than 2 months being out there. It kind of almost felt like a lifetime. A whole chapter in my book. Whenever I write the book, at least one chapter will be dedicated to Yellowstone. Maybe just to sell more books, I might call the book Yellowstone. People will open it up, think it's a picture book, or I don't know, be talking about wildlife or grizzly bears or I don't know, the Yellowstone River or mountains. And I'll just be talking about waiting tables and dirty or unair conditioned bathrooms. Or excuse me, rooms, dorm rooms, and communal bathrooms, and eating in a cafeteria. They're going to get the true inside look, the look behind the scenes of Yellowstone, the story behind the story. Am I over the divorce now? Well, yeah, I think I'm as over a divorce as you are. I mean, I still, there's still pangs of sadness from my first divorce. And not because of I miss my ex-wife, but just kind of wishing things were different a little bit. And, when I see my older girls, wondering what their lives would be like if, my first wife and I had stayed together or what have you, or just little things. But, kind of big things as well. But good morning, Peter. Is it the Bears' year? I would doubt it. And I don't watch much sports. I know they had the first pick in the draft, and I know they got a quarterback from USC. But he's a rookie, and they got some good receivers. I don't know. I doubt it is the Bears' year. I don't even know if there's buzz that it might be the Bears' year. I wonder if they, they might maybe have a chance at making the playoffs, and I think that would be a pretty good accomplishment. Gio says, did I move to Montana? Well, I was there. I left here in May. I was offered a job with extremely low housing costs, and room and board was provided for me for $500 a month. And I left my career as a realtor about 1.5 years ago and kind of been bouncing around doing other things, working at Target, and was struggling keeping a roof over my head while covering my financial responsibilities. So when I was offered a job out in Yellowstone that could put me up in give me a place to live and food to eat for $500 a month while working a job that I'd done before, I took it. And I rode my scooter out to Yellowstone mid to late May, I guess. My big girl was graduating high school, and she graduated about, the ceremony was about 40 miles west of where I am today. And I packed up my scooter, rode to the ceremony, saw her graduated, shed some tears, took some pictures, and gave both girls hugs goodbye, and then hopped on the scooter and started riding west. But I was needed back home, and I missed home. I missed home a whole heck of a lot. I can't tell you. I'm glad I went to Yellowstone. It was good financially, it was good emotionally, and it was probably good for my mental health in a whole bunch of ways. But it was a test. It was a test, and there were certainly times of great loneliness, and I miss some of the people there for sure. I miss cheap housing, and I miss the paychecks I was getting. But I don't miss the life that was working at Yellowstone really at all. And it feels good being back here despite whole new struggles that I'm facing here that I faced when I was in Wyoming or Montana or what have you. Oh, it's good. But anyway, for those that have been watching a while, it is not just a show about me talking. For those that have been watching a while, it is also a show about me sharing my love of coffee. And with that in mind, I got a nice hot cup of coffee in front of me. Good morning, Mosey. And I am so excited to take my first sip on this Thursday morning, on this August 22nd, at just about 6:45 a.m. or 5:45 a.m. My hope is wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you got a hot cup of coffee in front of you as well. Cheers to us. I debated what coffee I would make this morning. Good morning, Sandra Lynn. I thought, because I wasn't feeling that well, maybe the smoked butterscotch would be nice and kind of hug me like a warm blanket. Yesterday, I knew I needed a kick in the pants, so I had the Sumatra. So today, I went for Old Reliable pumpkin spice. Let's have another sip. Good morning, Ty. Oh. It's funny, I think when I talk to most people about pumpkin spice coffee, especially Starbucks pumpkin spice, I think they think I'm referring to like the pumpkin spice latte that Starbucks serves. And I don't get caught up in the whole pumpkin spice latte. I'm too cheap for that. Every once in a while. But also, I don't even like all the sugar. I don't need all the calories. All right. But, or the cost, or even the flavor. I don't know. I just like coffee, I think. The other ones are more borderline hot chocolate, milkshake kind of thing. And they don't seem as coffee to me. And I just enjoy drinking coffee, I think, a whole heck of a lot. So let's drink a little more. What the heck? I don't have much to say. I can just sit here drinking coffee and have you guys watch me do it. Oh. Do I miss doing real estate? No, I don't miss doing real estate at all. That made me smile. Thank you for that question, Chris. I certainly could use the big paychecks from time to time. I certainly could use that, but I don't miss it at all. I think a lot of people have the wrong idea of what realtors do, and I'll tell you what, it wasn't that exciting. Even when you had appointments all the time to go drive out to wherever and show 8 homes that day, and it was good when you had a buyer that was excited and you had property that was, you thought was going to match their needs, but that was not as common as one might think. Again, I think most people watch HGTV and realtor shows them 3 homes and they pick the best one. And it's so not that. There were a lot of what felt like dead end days where I knew the customer, just by the way they were talking, weren't going to buy a house, yet they wanted to go take a look at these just for whatever reason, to feel like they were doing it or moving forward. And, days that felt horridly unproductive. I mean, there were days that were productive where I'd go in and I don't know, touch base with a lot of people and, I don't know, call, email, video texts, whatever, a whole bunch of people. And, but still, as far as moving people to the closing table, I think buying a home I know buying a home's a pretty big decision. And, buying a home is a big decision. And you're going to buy a home when you're ready to buy a home. And you might think about looking this fall, but you might end up maybe doing it next year or the year after. Or you might plan to do it when your youngest child goes off to college. You might sell your house and move to Florida, or you might wait another 5 years. And I don't begrudge you or the customers, because it's a big decision, and selling your house that you've lived in all your life and moving to Florida may or may not happen. And I don't know. I tell you what, I worked really hard as a realtor. I was thinking about it, how I used to knock on doors, and how I knocked on this one guy's door many, many times, and he followed up with emails, and he'd ask me questions and had me out to the house to look at it a couple times and talk about selling. And, it was like 10 years, I kid you not. And my ex-wife and I went out and kind of met with him and talked about selling and talked about what he needed to do to his house to get it ready. And I'd already been out there several times. And then lo and behold, his wife's got a friend who became a realtor. And they went with the wife's friend. And I'm not blaming them or saying I'm screwed at all. I'm just saying that's what happens. And maybe the wife had more say in the real estate transaction than the husband did, or whatever. But it was just so funny thinking about the years invested. Yeah. And that's just the way it is. And there were times, were there times where I really needed a closing. And, but I'd never put my own needs above the client's, to a fault almost. Yeah, it was tough. So I don't miss it at all. Plus, I don't miss telling anybody I'm a realtor. It gave me a yucky feeling. I think if I tell you I'm a realtor, you're wondering what my ulterior motives are. Heck, even doing this show. I was doing this show when I was kind of the ending years of real estate. And part of the reason I was doing this show is I thought I'd get famous and Chicagoland, and people had used me to buy and sell homes. I mean, most of the reason was because I needed to talk and I thought it was felt good. Hello, Chris Perry. Thank you, Cole World. I woke early so I could do my hair this morning, so I could have it just right for you. Let's have a little more coffee. So I don't miss real estate, and I don't miss Yellowstone. I could use a little more confidence in my own revenue generating ability. I have had 2 jobs since I've been back in the last 2 weeks. I've been got a waiter job at a cool restaurant in Naperville, but right at the end of my training, it turned out they didn't need me, and didn't have enough shifts for me to work, and got another job 2 days later, and have been training the last week and change at that. And training as a waiter is kind of tough, especially when you do it 2 weeks in a row for 2 different restaurants, because you're trying to stay out of the way, you're trying to be helpful, you're trying to learn as much as you can, and you're just trying to do your best. And but your feeling of productivity is probably down. I know when when I'm waiting tables, or when I was a realtor, or when I was working at Target, when I was actually doing the job, I could feel productive. I could make the customer laugh or smile, or make their dining experience better, or get them the food quicker, or I don't know, just make their dining experience better. And but when you're training, you're trying to learn and stay out of the way of the waiter that's doing his job, and you're not getting paid a whole heck of a lot. And been doing that for a couple weeks, and ready to be done doing that, to be honest. Ready to be done doing that, to be honest. So, let's have a little more coffee. Oh, I seem to have difficulty keeping a job. That's funny. I was the realtor for 17 years, at Keller Williams for 15 years. I think it's possible I keep jobs longer than I need to. And I think sometimes I'll stick with something longer than I should. And I think I could have recognized that real estate wasn't what I'd hoped it was, and wasn't the match for me a lot sooner. And perhaps if I would have made the decision sooner, I would have been on and off to something else. And I don't regret hanging in there. I don't regret hanging in there. I have no regrets. I have no wonderings, should I have stuck with it longer, or should I have done it longer, or what have you. If you're talking about Target, I was at Target for 7 months. I could have kept the job. I think I might have difficulty finding the right job, but not keeping a job. I think maybe I have hopes for something better, or something more, and I'm looking for it. Did I get cheated on? No. Mossy says, other doors will open. Change is tough but necessary at times. Yeah, no, I think so, Mosey. I'm called you Mossy. I'm sorry. Yeah, doors are opening. Sometimes you wish they'd open a little quicker. Sometimes this morning, when I was waking up, I was wishing they would open a little quicker. And again, just woke kind of fretting a little bit today. Thank you, Sean. Are you taking off, Sean? I'll tell you, the one most reliable thing I do is this little talk show. is this little talk show. And the most consistent thing I do, and I think the most helpful thing I do, and the most beneficial to society as a whole, and not everybody loves it. Some people hate it. Some people love to hate it. That's fine too. Uh, but again, I know when I think I have a strong desire, a strong want. Hello, Dennis. Uh, I have a strong want to make a difference. And I think this show makes a difference. And I don't think when I was working at Target or being a realtor, it wasn't about the money. Being a realtor or working at Target or being in Yellowstone, that I was making the difference that I was meant to be. So, let's have a little more coffee. Coffee must be especially good today. Will you guys wait with me? Will you guys wait with me while I get a refill? Hold on. Oh! Oh! I'll tell you what, it was slow. I think that might have been a problem. That might have been my struggle yesterday. That might have been my struggle yesterday. It was slow at the restaurant. I was working the opening shift. And the restaurant was slow. And I had a lot of idle time. And I do not like idle time. I don't like standing around time or busy working. I guess I'd rather have busy work. I'd rather be told to fold some napkins or clean the windows or what have you than stand there idly. But I think there was too many periods of slowness yesterday and a lot of standing around. And when you're standing around, you're going, my legs are tired. Why isn't the clock moving faster? Neat thing about waiting tables is when you're busy, it can be stressful as heck. It can be stressful as heck. But time goes pretty quickly. Time goes pretty quickly. You look at your watch and suddenly it's 2 hours further. I remember going to school as a kid and staring up at the clock and then looking back down and trying to read or listen to the teacher or whisper something to my classmates and pass some time, and then looking back up at the clock and the second hand. And this might be foreign to you. This concept of a second hand might be foreign to you young whippersnappers, but would have only moved from here to down here. The long red second hand. Should bring the second hand back. I don't know what we would do with the second hand, but I think people were smarter when we had to read clocks. We had to set clocks. I wonder, is AI gonna dumbify the world more than it already has? I think it will. I think it has. I think it has to have. The coffee is the pumpkin spice, RJ. Oh, tell you, I just poured another cup and it was hot. Oh. Thinking about a couple things. I think, I'll touch on politics, what the heck. I think the Democratic Party got invigorated because Biden didn't stay in the race. And as a guy that considers him slightly right of center, I find myself envious of their energy. And I don't feel the energy on the right side of the political aisle. I feel it's more of the same. And as a guy that didn't think either of the candidates was great for the job, uh, I find myself envious of the party that has a new candidate that gives them energy. Yeah, RJ says the DNC didn't have Hulk Hogan speak. I don't know if I was very impressed with Hulk Hogan speaking. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Did I listen to Obama? Only a little bit, but I'll tell you what, that guy's a great speaker. That guy's witty when he needs to be, charming when he needs to be, and uh, can really win an audience. And I remember in 2008 when I think he just maybe won, and he came out and did a big speech in Grant Park, and the light was shining on him, and he was an impressive guy. Hello, Josh. How are you? Yeah, I think Michelle Obama has a likability factor that's very high. A likability factor that's very high. She seems like a good woman, and or a good person. But she seems. I think they have a genuine affection for each other. That. Um, Conveys well to an audience. And to have them speak at the Democratic convention, I would bet, built up a lot of excitement in the United Center. Can I believe Bill Clinton is younger than Trump? It's weird, because what was Clinton elected in 92? That was 30 some years ago. 30 some years ago. I was 24 when he got elected. So yeah, Bill Clinton's certainly aged, but so have we all. So have we all. I was watching Seinfeld yesterday, last night before I went to bed, and the Seinfeld was from either like 94 or 96, and Jerry looks so young. And I remember watching those seasons of Seinfeld like it was not long ago. And which episode? There were several. There was the shrinkage episode 2 nights ago where George went in the swimming pool and Jerry's girlfriend saw him coming out of the pool and saw him, told his girlfriend what she'd seen. So she left early. Last night, Jerry was buying his dad a Cadillac. Caused a lot of controversy and down in Florida where Jerry lived with where Jerry's parents lived in a retirement community. Big controversy. They thought he was stealing funds because, what's his name? What's his buddy's name? Thought he was stealing funds as president because he bought himself a new Cadillac, even though his son bought it for him. But anyway, time flies. A lot of those, some of the older characters, Jerry's dad passed 10, 15 years ago. And time goes by quickly. Boca de Vista, you're right. Hello, Jer Bear. How are you? RJ says Elaine is hot. She's kind of interesting because she's an attractive woman. But I think she's one of the boys so much in that show. Or one of the guys, or just one of the characters. Yeah. There probably is, Tenley. She can dance. She sure can. She sure can. Such a funny show. It's still probably one of my favorite shows of all time. And I think I was fortunate, I don't know, to be a kid. Not a kid. in my 20s when it came out, and uh, I don't know, be a big part of my single years living in Chicago and a Thursday night activity. It's kind of interesting. I never really was moved by Friends very much, but the reruns are still on all the time. And at the gym on the far left TV, it almost seems no matter what time I'm working out, there's an episode of Friends on. Turn like 7 state parks and a golf course and high rises. I hear that Florida is going to try to turn like 7 state parks into golf course and high rises. Wow. And expanding Disney World. No one on Seinfeld has a cell phone. No, George, I was actually somewhat surprised. Because Jerry, his phone has a cord, but George answered the phone or called. Oh, that was it. It was Marissa Tomei. Marissa Tomei had a thing for funny, short, stocky, bald men like George. And so George wanted to get set up with Marissa Tomei because one of Elaine's friends said that he was just her type, even though George was engaged. He picked up his phone and it had no cord, and he was talking to Elaine saying that he needed Marissa Tomei's number. Hey, our episode about waiting for a payphone. I'm sure Capri is great, Dan Collins. Yeah, I don't know what I have for you. Again, it's kind of a quiet episode. Just getting started, just getting my caffeine on, just rubbing the sleep out of my eyes, and just getting ready for my day. Yeah. I might just sit here and drink coffee. Let's try it. I usually talk for about an hour. Sometimes I don't. Today might be a not. Skies are getting light out. Lisa Smith said, how was the lunch shift? It was slow. It was slower than I'd like. Lisa, I started at 10:45. I ended at 4:15. It was slower than I'd like. And all right, here's what was on my mind. I did a lot of interviewing at various restaurants in Naperville, Illinois when I got back 2 weeks ago. And I felt the overall mood in the restaurants was not one of boomish optimism because summer was coming to an end and the patios were closing and they were cutting back on staff and winter was coming and less people apparently dine out in the winter than they do in these downtown restaurants in the summer when they're walking around and feeling free and feeling loose and what have you. So I felt the overall atmosphere really in all the restaurants I've been to was one of pulling back a little bit. And where I'm working now, they're going to be cutting out their lunch shifts due to summer being over. And that was happening across the board. A bunch of places were cutting back on hours and on shifts and on things because, again, I think the summer is, for these restaurants, is peak time. And although I don't miss Yellowstone, I think perhaps I was spoiled by the endless flow of customers that being the only restaurant in Mammoth Hot Springs Yellowstone provides, because again, it's a park that gets 4.5 million visitors a year. And when you work in the dining room, if you're at that section of the park and you want to eat, you got to go to the dining room, unless you packed a lunch. And so we were the only game in town, and we had, you know, all it is Yellowstone to attract viewers. Hello, Will Bill Chill. And, or excuse me, attract customers. So we were pretty busy every shift. And I remember when I was there going, hey, wow, this feels weird. You know, didn't matter if it was Monday night or Saturday night, our shifts would be pretty busy. And 10 years ago, after I worked at Outback Steakhouse, I remember after I got a divorce, I was working at Outback Steakhouse. Remember thinking, wow, this is slow tonight. There's nobody here. I've been sitting here with one table for an hour. And that feeling never happened in Yellowstone. It was always one of busyness and hustling around and getting the food out and getting the drinks. And again, time went fast. And yesterday, I had that feeling of working in a restaurant that was slow during the lunch shift. And it felt unusual to me. And again, I think I was a little spoiled by the endless amount of customers that would be coming into our dining room every night or every morning or every lunch, along with the endless hours we seem to have. Oh. Will Bill. I'm glad to see Will Bill Chill on here. I'm going to get a little more coffee. I don't feel I said anything worthwhile at all. I'm going to let you guys think about the conversation. I'm going to go get a little more coffee. If anybody has anything really interesting to add, we'll keep talking for a little bit. Oh, it's really unprecedented. I mean, I don't know if it's totally unprecedented, but it's rare. A third cup of coffee on one of my shows. It's really a big one. If I title this show, I might change the name from Thursday Morning Coffee with Ken to the episode where I actually drank 3 cups of coffee on the show. Become one of my huge hits. Be seen by millions of viewers. As I was talking to a buddy yesterday, I could use a big win. Who knows? Who really knows where the big win's going to come from? And I started at 5:30. I woke up. I wasn't sleeping well. Yesterday I had a hard time getting out of bed. Today bed seems scary. I had a lot of thoughts on my mind. Yes, I am, Jer Bear. I am. Yeah. I appreciate the good morning, Kayla. I did not sleep well. It's okay. I mean, I slept fairly well. Today's not a work day, which feels strange. And maybe it's causing a little bit of my stress. Because I know when I go to work, I feel productive and I feel like I'm doing all I can. And when I do all I can, I sleep better, feel what have you. But I wasn't scheduled today, and I still have one more training day tomorrow. And I'm ready for I saw the movie Training Day the other day, by the way. Again. It was very violent. But anyway, one more training day tomorrow. My training days aren't as exciting as Ethan Hawke's training day, I'll tell you that. Anyone seen that movie? Am I liking the job? Well, I'm still training, Kayla. I'm working, still training. I'm still training. And I think I'm done being training. Due to just kind of a weird thing, uh, uh, have I thought about doing something else for work? I sure have, Callie. I sure have. I sure have. I'll just say this, and I don't even know what it would be. I don't even know what it would be. But I ride by a soon-to-be Porsche dealership that's opening up in Naperville. And I tell you what, I've never done car sales, and you probably need experience selling cars. But I don't know, something about that piqued my curiosity, wondering when they're going to be open and if they need a 56-year-old bald guy with no car sales experience working for them. Sometimes I think about selling RVs, but I bet you that is a very seasonal business as well, and a lot of hard times. I think there's a lot of jobs out there that are more challenging than we think. And whether you're selling Porsches or Pintos, car sales could be probably pretty tough. But I'll tell you what, it'd be fun to be able to take those cars on a test drive. Yeah. Yes, Marky, I'm still at the restaurant. It's funny, I've always said I worked at a restaurant 3 times. Until like 3 months ago, I worked at 3 different restaurants in my life, and I was 55 years old. In the last 3 months, I've added 3. I'm starting to think on my resume of life, maybe the little 5-day training period at the restaurant I worked 2 weeks ago might just kind of fall off. Might just kind of fall off. Might stop telling stories about it because it's still still a sore spot, is I guess. Car salesmen get free cars to take home. I don't know if they really do, Tenley. I know car salesmen. I know guys that struggle. I know guys that do it, and maybe the manager might get a car occasionally, but I don't think on my first week of training at the Porsche dealership in Naperville, which isn't even open yet, if they'd be giving me a 911 to ride around and pick up my kids with. Hey, can you put 2 car seats in the back? Yeah, well, your sister was parts manager. Oh, that's good. But it'd be fun. They must think there's a market there for them to be opening a facility. Well, Callie, I agree. They must think there's a market. I'm certainly sure there is a market there. But just because there's a market doesn't, and just because a business can survive, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's not even open yet. There's just a sign up. There's just a sign up. I have nowhere to apply. But I should. I think that might be a good goal for today. That might be a good goal for today. When I left for Yellowstone, I left my laptop at my buddy's house where I was staying the last couple weeks. And on it is my resume. And on it is ability to work the system in a way I can't really work it as well on my phone. Yes, you can do it all on your phone, but I don't know. I'm all thumbs and my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. Maybe, and sometimes you need a goal to get going. Sometimes you need a goal to get going. Even a little goal. And maybe if I made my goal to get my laptop from my buddy's house on the other side of town today, that would be a good start to my day. And maybe the whole point of us having this coffee with Ken today was to give me that direction. Because Kelly asked me if I thought about doing other jobs. And yes, I have. But in my mind, and this is going to sound ridiculous and lame, I've always gone, oh, I'd like to, too bad I don't have my laptop. I'd update my resume and I'd send it out to wherever. So in my mind, as lame as it is, me not having my laptop on me caused me to not actively pursue, more permanent or higher paying jobs. And it makes me chuckle just thinking about it. So maybe the whole point of this today was just to inspire me in some small way to take that one step forward that needed to be taken. Lisa Smith says, take that laptop to the library, resume updating and books. I tell you, I love going to the library. I really do. It almost feels old-fashioned. They have newspapers there. I like reading the newspaper. Remote job, working from home. Billy Jank, where am I living right now? I'm in Naperville. And I pulled in 2 weeks ago. I'm staying at an extended stay in North Naperville. And honestly, it's kind of nice. I mean, nice might be overstating it, but it's not bad at all. The experience has been positive. The cost is probably a little more than it should be, but not horrific. If you sign up for a month, your monthly rental is roughly what an apartment's going to cost you after you pay for utilities. So it's not too bad. It's not too bad. So anyway, that's where I'm staying. And I've got a plan. And sometimes the best laid plans have holes in them a little bit. And perhaps what woke me this morning was the seasonality of the restaurant business in downtown Naperville. And the fact that the restaurants I spoke to are cutting back on staff and shifts because kids are going back to school and the colder months are coming and the patios are going to be closing. And yesterday I worked a shift, honestly, where it was fairly slow. And the guy I was training under didn't make a heck of a lot of money. And I know you have good days and bad days in the business, in any business. But again, I think perhaps I was a little spoiled working in Yellowstone, having crowded restaurants 7 days a week. And working hard and doing my best. But again, spoiled that how crowded the restaurant was. And I think yesterday when I got done with my shift, I was a little worried about things and about business and about the restaurant business in downtown Naperville. Not worried for the restaurants themselves, because they'll be okay. And if they're not, that's okay too. Yeah. But worried about my own financial situation and that of my family and my kids that I'm trying pretty hard to support. And that although getting the jobs, and I'm proud of myself because I was able to come back here, get 2 jobs really quickly. The math might not add up. That the math might not add up. Tenley says, downtown Naperville seems always crowded and buzzing year round. Maybe too many restaurants? I mean, maybe not too many. But I think waiting tables is, can be challenging. And I was worried about it. My kids, I said at the beginning of the show, my kids aren't feeling well. And little Augie has a high temperature. And my ex-wife's not feeling well and has been sick for a few days. I can't afford to be sick. I cannot afford to be sick. I can't afford to miss shifts. We get maybe 4 shifts a week or something like that. And if I was sick for a week and missed a week of pay, I'd be in some trouble. And because of that, not spending as much time with my babies as I'd like, but I cannot afford to be sick. And long term, that could be problematic. Again, these are just worries I have during the night. So, hey, Brian, thank you for joining. So, Callie, you've given me a goal today. You've given me a goal today. Get my laptop from my buddy's house. That's the step I need to take to move forward just that little bit. And kind of makes me smile. So I'm going to swig the rest of this coffee. Going to shower, because showering's a great way to get going. I'm going to be grateful for the hot water. I'm going to be grateful for the room I have, the AC, the coffee, the apples, and the fruit I have in the fridge that I'm going to gobble up. Going to head out, going to grab my laptop, going to put some things together, going to move forward, going to have as productive a day as I can possibly have. And I promise you I'm going to do it with a smile. Because again, as I say a lot, life's a lot better when you're smiling. So I want to thank you so much for joining today. I appreciate you joining me on this Thursday morning. I hope your week's going well. Thank you, Logical Lemon. I hope you had a great night's sleep. Yeah. I hope you are, one more sip. Feeling good. I hope you are loving yourself. I hope you are forgiving yourself. And as always, I hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.